Thank you all for your support. We appreciate it.
Aries, thank you so much, mate. He says, my motherboard NVMe slot, they're all filled up, and he was looking at the PCI extension cards. Is there any performance loss going that route versus directly installed on the motherboard? Today's video is brought to you by Green Man Gaming, your source for awesome PC game deals. Save on AAA games and classic indie titles with discounts over 90% in some cases. More details after the video.
No, there is not. I've used many of them.
Do you want to go? Not
show and tell.
Not all boards will be in all regions. Yeah, we there's an extension card that we get that Tech uses. So he's going to go grab that and show you. DDR3 1600 was common.
What is it?
Nothing.
Oh. DDR3 1600 was typical around Sandy Bridge, but I don't think it was by the time Haswell came out. That's not what I'm looking for. I have tons of these.
Here we go.
So like this is a kit that comes with, I know it's weird, it actually comes with the SATA cable. And the reason it comes with the SATA cable, and it comes with both sides of the back plates, is this has both a SATA M.2 and an NVMe M.2. I actually had just a standard one out there, but I used it already. We used that upstairs.
Yeah, so there, you got different ones that you can get.
And so the way this works is this top slot is actually for SATA drives, and there is a SATA connector here, and it plugs into the SATA port on your motherboard. You don't need a SATA power cable because it just gets power from the motherboard to drive the... This would be for like a Samsung 860 EVO M.2 drive or a Western Digital Blue M.2 drive. SATA, actually they've made... Western Digital, you suck. You've made both SATA and NVMe Blues, and you've made both SATA and NVMe Blues in M.2. That is confusing AF. Don't do that. Anyway, so you can use it for that. The bottom one is NVMe only, will not work with SATA. And here's something I'm sure a few people don't know. This smaller edge connector on your PCI Express slots, this is power. This is the 75 watts of power that your motherboard can provide. This is your 4 PCI Express lanes. When it's a video card and it's longer, that's 16 lanes. When it's really tiny and short, that is 1 lane. There are 4 lanes here. If you actually look at an NVMe drive, and I realize we're streaming and I realize it's not close enough and whatnot, but...
Oh yeah, the little doobie.
This is the PCI Express power, and this is the 4 PCI Express lanes. These directly map to these. There's a reason these are $10. All this is doing, and if you actually, I obviously can't show you on the stream, but if you actually look at the board, there are trace lines on the card coming from every one of these golden fingers, running along here and connecting to each of the plugs on here. And so if you take this and you insert it, it is simply an adapter that converts the pins from here to match your motherboard slot. All your M.2 slot is on the board is a PCI Express slot, just that looks different. Furthermore, if this is not complete crap, it will work at Gen 4 speeds even if the box doesn't say so, and I have verified that using Gen 4 drives on AMD motherboards using cards that were very cheap, and they run just fine at Gen 4 speeds because it's a piece of copper. It is literally a piece of copper that runs from here along the board to the connector. That's it. That is also why you cannot put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 NVMe drives on one of these cards with 4 lanes. 4 lanes, 4 lanes. It gets complicated with bifurcation, with an X16 slot, with 2 or 4 drives. There actually are now some controller cards, but they're stupid expensive, that will let you install multiple NVMe drives on a card on a board that doesn't support enough lanes because they have an onboard PCI Express, is it a PCX chip? The PCI Express lane splitter chip. But they're like $200 for the board. They're really, these are $10. So, performance-wise, no, you don't lose any performance. The only issue would be, are you plugging this into a board? This is an important addition. Some of the slots on your motherboard are CPU lanes, and some of the slots on your board are chipset lanes. This is true of your M.2 slots, and this is true of your PCI Express slots. On a X board, typically, or a Z board, your top two X16 slots are CPU. The top one is 16 lanes, and the next one down is 8. And if you put one of these in that second slot, it actually takes 8 full lanes from your graphics card because it can't divide 12 and 4. The board's not wired that way. And so you'll drop your graphics card down to 8, and this will use 4, and then 4 will go unused. If you put this in the third slot down at the bottom, those are usually chipset lanes, and they run through your chipset. Be warned, a lot of motherboards with 3 M.2 slots and a bottom X4 slot on the motherboard, it's usually physically X16, but if you actually look at the slot very closely, you'll see there are wires only this far into the slot. The rest is just plastic. There's no wires in there. It's electrically a 4X slot, but it's physically an X16 slot. On many boards, not all, if you put a card in that slot, you disable the bottom M.2 slot because they're shared lanes, because they're actually using the same lanes to the chipset. In other boards, you'll disable SATA ports.
Yes.
I have seen one board where if you put a card into the bottom PCI Express slot, you lose half of the M.2's lanes. So your bottom M.2 goes from a 4-lane slot to a 2-lane slot, and then whatever you put into the bottom slot gets 2 lanes. So you cut the speed of both of your drives in half, but at least you get to use both of them.
This is
a motherboard manufacturer's choice. You have to read your manual.
Aries says, so if you need a ton of NVMe drives, you need to go HED system?
Yes, and that's why we have HEDT systems, because we use the X16 Asus Hyper M.2. They're about $50 or $60, very cheap, and the reason is because they are a PCI. I have one.
AJ says to check the back of the motherboard to see what the speed of the slot is. But does it have it on all of them?
The back of the motherboard?
That's what he said.
Read your manual.
That's what your manual's for.
So I have one, but it's upstairs. It would take me too long to find. So the Hyper M.2 cards have a true full 16 lanes, but they must be used in a motherboard that supports PC bifurcation. Bifurcation? Bifurcation, because it electrically gives you 4 4-lane slots. It identifies them as individual slots because, again, there's no intelligence or logic on the card, and you put your 4 NVMe SSDs on the card, and they're just electrically wired to the various lanes. I've used that on both my Cascade Lake X, the i9-10980XE. That's too confusingly named with the other one. Mm-hmm. And then the Threadripper systems, be it 1950X, 2950X, 3960X, those will all take that in usually the third slot down, which is electrically 16 lanes, but you have to go to the BIOS and set it to 4X, 4X, yeah. 4X, 4X.
You have to do that.
To enable it to, otherwise they won't show up because it doesn't work.
Ian says he tried to use 28 NVMe drives in a Threadripper Pro Asus board. They need to update the BIOS to enable it. Wendell is almost there. He's working closer with them. Okay, good.
I object.
28? That's a lot.
Now, they may be doing that for fun. I object. If you actually have a need, and you're not just goofing off for YouTube, if you have a need for 28 NVMe drives, that's what Epic is for. Do you know why? Because Threadripper has 64 PCI Express lanes and Epic has 128. Mm-hmm. That's what that's for. They make platforms for that. I know, I'm no fun. But anyway, hopefully that was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
That, by the way, would make an excellent Byte Size Tech.
Don't worry, I time-stamped it.
You're amazing. I love you.
Do I get 2 gold stars? Yay! Greenman Gaming is a game seller that offers publisher-sourced game keys at incredible prices. This is not a key reselling site. Everything here is 100% direct from the publishers. Green Man Gaming has been in business for 10 years selling discounted game keys, famous for their publisher sales, where almost everything from a specific publisher is on sale at once. Green Man Gaming offers deep discounts on older games as well as fair discounts on brand new ones, sometimes as much as 25% off pre-orders. Now you may be wondering, how do they do this when the same game is full price on Steam? Simple. They are passing on part of their cut to you as the customer. It is typical for 70% of the purchase price to go to the publisher and 30% to go to the retailer. So if Green Man Gaming offers a 22% discount on a brand new game, that's basically them passing their cut over to you. For new release games, AAA games, and major publisher titles, Green Man Gaming has been our very own primary source for games in the past few years, and we recommend them for your own game library as well. The link in the video description is an affiliate link, and using it pays us a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's a great way to support us while getting awesome deals on games.